I'm Pedro Signorina Silva, and today the question is, will you be that somebody? Or maybe it was, will you be that someone? Either way, talking about the same thing. And the idea of will you be that someone or will you be somebody comes from this idea that a lot of times in life we see things that we think could be better, could be improved, could be changed. And then we'll say something along the lines of somebody should or someone should, and then you fill in the blanks. Someone should say something. Someone should speak up. Someone should write a book about that. Someone should invent this. Someone should do that. Someone. And I'm asking, can you be that someone? Will you please be that someone? Because I can say for myself that a lot of times in my life, and I was just telling my daughter about this when I was younger, and even now, I've been in situations where people will say, someone should say something about dot dot dot, and especially when I was younger, I would be like, "Yep, someone should." And if I said someone should do it, I always thought that that meant I should do it. And so, if unless I said someone should build a rocket ship to Mars, I'm not talking about stuff like that. But I'm saying certain things that are within my capacity to do or to build or to learn how to do. And so every time I thought that, especially when it came to something that I felt needed to be said in a space of, injustice or something like that, I would think, someone should say that. And if something about that. And if I thought someone should, then it would be me on small scales and maybe somewhat larger scales. But fundamentally, I felt that I was responsible for whatever I said someone should do in some form or fashion, even if it simply meant donating money to someone who was doing the thing. But I had to activate it in the world in some kind of way. But a lot of us say those words, someone should do something, and then we choose not to be that person. And not only do we choose not to be that person, we also choose not to support people who will be that person. We choose to back off when we have opportunities to contribute in some small way to making transformation or going toward the world or the situations or whatever it is that we think is possible for one reason or the other. My invitation to you today is to not be that person, but to be that walks away, but be that person that does something. When I make these videos and I write, I've been writing for like my dad died in 2009. So in 2009 was the first time I ever wrote a blog post. And I called it The Ruthless Church. And I started just putting stuff out there. Before that, in different scenarios in my life, I've spoken up. And a lot of times I've had people say, yeah, if you say something, I'll have your back. Then as soon as I get out there and start saying something, and I'm like, we want to represent this, we want to tell you this, and they'll be like, who's we? And I'll turn around, nobody's there. And that happened a lot when I was younger. That's why I used to get in fights because I sometimes like a bully or something. I was like, not everybody's scared of you, man. We were saying chirp, chirp, chirp. Oh, guess I'm getting punched in the face now. And that used to be my journey. And as I matured, I started to think about what was my fight, what wasn't my fight, who would be there when I took an action and who wouldn't be there. And more times than not, it was people that wouldn't be there because they would get scared about what they had to lose or whatever the case may be. And that's been life. And I've been learning and growing and learning to respect different people's ways of surviving. Like one time I was in Hawaii and I went to the Polynesian Cultural Center and I saw these, I think they were from Fiji or one of those countries, and they were climbing up a tree and a bunch of people were watching them and like, ooh, look at that. It's like a monkey. And they were just saying like all this different stuff. And I started feeling like, hey man, I feel like these indigenous people getting exploited by the community. I think it was the Church of Jesus Christ or something that owned the Polynesian Cultural Center. I'm not sure if it was them, so I don't want to say it was them. But anyway, I felt like they were getting exploited. And I started getting bothered. I was like, I can't watch this. So I started I started talking to the indigenous people who worked there, and I was just like, hey man, don't you feel like these people are exploiting you? They're looking at you like a animal and blah blah blah. And I started trying to, and my ex-wife, she's black, and she was just like, Pedro, stop this, stop. And I was like, no, somebody's gonna say something. I understand now why she probably didn't want to hang out with me. But at any rate, I felt like I had to say something on behalf of the indigenous people at the Polynesian Cultural Center. So I started saying some stuff to them. And then one of the dudes was like, hey man, I don't care. I'm just trying to pay for college. I ain't think about any of this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and I just kind of like had to let it go. And there's been other instances in my life where I told people like, yo, man, stand up for yourself, like say something. And they were like, nah, it's okay. Nah. and then they'll just feel terrible. They probably go home and like take it out on their families or something. But I have come to realize that not everybody feels like they have the capacity to get up and say things when they see things that they don't agree with. And part of the reason why I make these videos and write all the stuff I'm writing is just because maybe, just maybe, somebody's going to pick it up and feel a little bit inspired and feel a little bit like they can say something. And maybe it's a person that's like me, like a black person who's like, okay, this guy's saying something. Like when I'm critical of the evangelical Christian church, I say it because I came from them. So I feel like I have the right to say something. And then I feel like there's other people who agree with me. I know because when I used to be in those churches, people go, oh man, I wish you were right, but I'm scared of losing my salvation and all this other stuff like that. I know that there's people that agree with me, but they won't say anything because they are afraid. That's my nice way of putting it. But now more of us have to be that somebody. More of us have to find ourselves, if we find ourselves in situations where we feel disturbed. I'm not saying you got to go and get on the stage and say a bunch of stuff. I'm not saying you can write a letter, you can comfort somebody, you can support somebody else is doing it, you can share some stuff. But whatever it is that's keeping you from being that somebody in some small incremental way, at least, that's robbing you of your life. So my invitation to you is that if you catch yourself saying, whether you say it out loud or whether you're thinking it in your mind, somebody should ask yourself, can I be that somebody? Because whatever it takes for another person to do it, you have it inside you too. You wouldn't have recognized it if it wasn't inside of you. But it's about taking what's inside of you and bringing it out. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be polished. People don't have to like it. You just got to get it out of yourself because it will liberate you in some form or fashion. And I know that a lot of us are afraid of liberation because we've learned how to survive in these broken systems. And so we just kind of make our way the best that we can without ruffling any feathers or whatever it is that we tell ourselves. But we have to do something, even if it's a little bit. I'm not saying you, like, as I said, you don't got to get up, you don't even have to go to a protest. But if you are burying your inner knowing that you can be a contribution to a more healthy world in some small way, and you bury it because you're afraid, you're robbing yourself of yourself. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. If you rob yourself of yourself, what else? What do you expect other people to do? So I'm not going to push it hard today because I'm trying. My part of myself is telling me, Pedro, listen, bro, you ain't got to say it so intensely. Well, I'm not saying talking to myself in third person. I'm, I'm just saying I don't have to say it so intensely. I want to say it in an invitational way. We all have different things that we can contribute in large and small ways to make the world a little bit better. Just like the other day, I said, here a little, there a little, a drop at a time. A bathtub will fill one drop at a time. If that's all you got is a drop, then drop your drop in there and try to contribute to making the world be more um, healthy, more healthy. That's all I'm asking. Try to be that somebody. I'm making this video because I was like, somebody should make a video telling people they should be somebody. They should be that somebody. Then I came down and made that video. I just finished writing a piece to putting out a piece that I wrote. I've been writing over 2 weeks about asking folks, are you stuck in a survival trap? Because I know for certain, without a doubt in my mind, that many, many, many of us are stuck, unable to live lives that are fulfilling or have fulfilling relationships because we're stuck in survival mode. Something happened when we were younger that made us think that this is the way to survive the world. And then we keep doing it on repeat, even when the situations don't call for it, because our subconscious mind tells us the reason you survived so long is because you kept doing this same thing over and over and over again. I've tried to articulate to people that the people that you think are supporting this authoritarian regime or other ones all over the world, it's because they are the most afraid. They are trying to keep themselves alive by fawning, and they don't know they are. They think if they just go, oh yeah, you're the best. Oh yeah. They're really saying, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I know you're a psycho. And if I don't act like I support you, you're going to kill me. And they don't even know that they think it. It's buried so deep. It probably goes back to some parent that slapped them around when they were little kids and they were innocent, and then they shut down some part of their brain that makes them know that they're worthy, and now they let somebody systematically abuse them. It happens a lot to Black folks and other oppressed people. You should read Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire, Freire. You should read that, or read forgot what it's called. Well, read. I've mentioned Ernest Becker a lot about his denial of death work and all of those things. Most of the people are going along with these systems because they're afraid of dying. That's what it comes down to. I can beat this drum forever and ever, and it still won't be enough beats. That is what terrifies a lot of people. And so they do what they do to survive. I'm trying to move from a place where I'm less judgmental of how people have chosen to survive and try to create more invitational presences so that folks in their anxiety and in their fear, they'll find that there's enough room for them. And when they're able to calm their nervous systems down, they might be able to make clearer decisions because it's very difficult for people to do that. So if you have that skill, maybe you can be that somebody. Maybe you can sit with people who are stuck in their anxiety and their fear or whatever the case may be. All I'm saying is there's ways that you can contribute. If you think somebody should do it, maybe you're that somebody. So I think I'll leave it with that for now. Hopefully, if you get something out of this, you will think about it, ponder it, and take action on it and share with other people. And if you have not come across the piece about Are You Stuck in a Survival Trap, I encourage you to read it. I make it accessible and free when I first post them, and only the archive things have a cost, but I make them that way. And you can play if you have the app, I believe. Just the app works where you can listen to it, and that'll cut out some time. But it's an invitation to be mindful of how you're showing up in the world and to get curious about if you're using your survival instincts when they're not serving you. Because if you are, there's so much more life that you have to offer that if you aren't using your survival instincts constantly, you will be able to appreciate some of the things in life, like meeting people from different cultures, trying new things, having adventures. There's so much beauty that's accessible when you're not afraid of everything. So, at any rate, that's the other invitation for today. I hope you get something out of it. I appreciate you. And thanks for being here. Peace.